99% of the people sound exactly the same in the jazz community. When I see people play, I'm inspired by a very small percentage of the population. And most of the time, people are just playing stuff that has been played already. And I go to hear a performance and I hear a saxophone player play an entire set and not play one thing that I haven't heard before on different recordings before. Like, for me, that misses the spirit of this music and the spirit of improvisation. I'm not saying that every solo has to blow my mind. I'm not saying that every solo has to, reinvent the wheel. But there's a difference between, let's say, Joe Lovano, who obviously internalized, all this amazing language and loves the music. And when he plays, he sounds like himself. We can hear his influences when he plays, right? We know that he's influenced by Sonny Rollins and by Coltrane and all the great tenor players or whatever. But it's still, he sounds like himself. He never plays a lick that someone else played. There's no point to that. If you're doing that, you're missing just a slight, element that I think we can get to today. So let me move on and try to show you guys some ways to work towards a better way of actually learning how to improvise. Now, before I go on to the next thing, before I start the kind of the positive part of this, showing you how to do it, let me just say that one of the key ingredients for this approach is accepting where you actually are as an improviser. So let's say I'm improvising on the blues at this level. If that's where I am, basically I'm playing an F blues and I'm improvising off the F triad. And then on the 4 chord, I'm improvising off, an F minor triad. Let's say I'm at this level where I'm playing in a kind of a simple way. So the thing I don't want to do is insert some lick that comes from someone who is way above my level. So for example, let's say I'm transcribing Coltrane and he plays a lick on a diminished scale that goes like this. So what I don't want to do is play at my level. So that's an example of me not being really true, honest, what is the level of improv that I am actually able to do? Stay with some flexibility, understand what I'm doing, use my ear a little bit, use my knowledge a little bit, listen a little bit, phrase a little bit. So the first thing before we go into the nitty gritty of how to actually start to work with this material is just don't try to use transcription as a way to boost your level artificially, to skip steps. Because if you're transcribing Sonny Rollins, who's an absolute freak genius, one of the geniuses of all Western music, in my opinion, I put him up there with just some of the greatest classical minds. And you say well, I'm just going to play this lick or whatever. It's it doesn't work because he's better than you. And he's better than me. And he arrived at that point through his process, which who knows how he did it, but he just was a genius in it. At 19, he was already just playing fully perfect lines. And that's not where we're at. So we don't use a solo as a way to... I think there's a misconception in the jazz scene if you just play with the solo at the level of the guy, then you'll just be at that level temporarily. So I'll just make this little chart so you understand what is our goal in practicing and what is our goal in practicing improvisation. So let's say you have your level here, and then you transcribe Sonny Rollins up here. So most people think that, I'm here, and then I'm going to transcribe Sonny Rollins, and I'm going to somehow temporarily get up to that level, and then I'll come back down to my level. And if I keep going up to that level, come back to my level, and eventually I'm just going to get be at that level. And that's absolutely not how it works. How it works is like this. You're here, you transcribe somebody who's here, and you get some type of information from the solo that you can understand and use, and then you move from here to here. You move a tiny bit up just the most minuscule amount of improvement, but it's enough that you'll feel it like, oh, that feels better. And then the next day or whatever, you do it again. And then you know, okay, I understand a little better. And that's how you go. And over the course of 10, 20, 30 years, you keep climbing and hopefully we get to some level. But guess what? It's not going to be sunny. It's going to be our own thing that we're developing over time. So the first thing to understand is your goal is not to play as good as the person you're transcribing. Why would you be transcribing them if you could play as well as them? That doesn't make any sense. Our goal is to take our level, understand where your level is, and then understand how to feed some information into your system that will allow you to just get the slightest bit of improvement. And if you could do that consistently every day over the course of months and years, you get better and better and better. And it's a very natural, organic thing.